Hello, everyone. How are you guys tonight? I'm sure I'm probably going to get some trolls in here, but that's okay. Can you guys put a one in the chat if you can hear me? Let me check my audio. Hi, Skyzy. Can you hear me? Check my audio. Okay, we are live. So I came on tonight because I'm just really I'm upset over this whole Kylie Rodney thing with ICMAL. I never thought that I would see a YouTuber do what's happened here. And I can't just sit by and let it happen and nothing to be done about it. So I did make an appointment with the state's attorney here in my county to see if they can push it to the attorney general, because this shouldn't go on in a missing child case. It ties up resources. I think it would be okay when real people call in, but when it's a fake person calling in, I have a problem. And it's made this whole thing spiral out of control. I'd really like to know what you guys think about it. Because I would feel better if they would just admit that Ronnie wasn't real. And then I think other apologies could come after that. Because I think it's just been horrible. I mean, tomorrow, it's been 2 weeks, my brother passed away, and tomorrow we have his service. And I wasn't going to make any videos during all this, but I think that's what's wrong with this community. When we see something wrong, we have to stand up. We have to come together. Otherwise, we're just going to be looked at as crappy YouTubers. And that's not what we want. Because as an army, we can make a difference in these cases. We can get the word out. I'm not saying we're going to solve the cases, but I think we do bring a lot to the table, because there are a lot of people who are good investigators where this is concerned. Thank you, Pink Sparkle. I've had 2 weeks to let it all sink in. But I think the hard part's over, the shock of it all. It's going to be hard to see the children, because he had 2 children, one 18, one 22, and now they don't have a dad. I mean, we knew for 2 months he had cancer, but like any other family, we thought he would get better, that he would be all right. But it just didn't happen that way. I get really bad vibes from this case. Yeah, who else, when you guys first watched the first meeting with the community, did it seem weird to you, the response from the community? I mean, I thought I was on the shows of the Stetson wives watching that. to me, it was just very odd behavior when there was a missing person. Really, these kids' friend is what I thought. Does anybody think that the cops knew where she was? Because I also find that strange. That AWP went right in there, and in 20 minutes, they found the car right there, right off the road, right in the water. There's just a lot in this case that makes no sense. Yeah, all of them. I just wanted to see if it was me. Yes, guys, see it don't. I think she was put there after it was cleared. Yeah, me and my fiance went back and forth after that. He thinks that she was there all along and it was a cover. I think after they cleared it, somebody come back and put it there. But that's my personal opinion. And I like to have everybody's opinion. It's it's all of us who make a community what it is. And the only way to get to the bottom of things is for people to brainstorm together. I would have liked to heard what Ryan was going to say today, but with all the allegations that we're all crackheads and crazy, I can understand why he just threw the towel in. But I'm not that person who's just going to throw the towel in, because if they're going to double down and triple down on Ronnie, then I'm going to quadruple down and make law enforcement do their job, because it's something that wasted resources. And say I'm wrong, which I've done the research. I know they both have the same last names. Marvin and Melvin have the same last names. But if for some reason I'm wrong, I will come back here and I will tell you that after I meet with the state's attorney. The only way I wouldn't is if Mel came out and said that it was his relative, because they look a lot alike and they have the same last names. Ryan will rebound. He's obsessed. If there is a video from the adjacent party, it needs to be analyzed. Yeah, because that Zanime character said she was there and that she had the video. Zanime was there 2 days before she was found. Right, in the canoe, right? Unless she stole somebody else's video, which that would even be stupider. Hey, white boy, how are you? Yeah, this whole case is weird, just like the Summer Wells. I don't know how many of y'all in here have watched the Summer Wells case. I did a video before about the crisis actors. You know, people think you're crazy, but there's proof the people who are involved with the billboard, the lady who said her name was, I think, Cindy, owns a crisis actor place where people come in and pay for crisis actors to come out when there's a tragedy, which I think is ridiculous. Yeah, she was in a canoe. Oh, it is her, Brandy? Ronnie and Iqmel definitely knew one another. Your video explains it. Oh, yeah. I really only showed you a piece of the information I have. I could really go deep on this because there's pictures not just with Ronnie and Ickmel, but there's also pictures of Santa Mae and Milo. How is that? I'm not good at this, you guys. I hardly ever do lives. I heard that too, Stacy, and I think Steven could be her dad. Yeah, well, I'm going to get to the bottom of it because it is interfering in an investigation. And since it is in the state of Florida where it was done, I think that something can be done. We think Santa Mae does not seem truthful. No, yeah, she is sketch. But I believe she was in the military, what the information I've come up with, that she was a National Guard. Cats meow, they're all connected. Sammy's dad. I haven't found a picture of Sammy's dad yet. I'd like to see what he looks like to see if he's in any of these other photos. Has anybody else seen what Sammy's dad looks like? Oh, thank you, Tennessee girl. Brandy hadn't heard that. Was Kylie's phone found? No, not that I know of. The cops haven't said if it was found or not. Very strange when you think about it. It's sick, like planned interviews with people that they claim were with missing people. I know, but the cops said that they talked to 400 people. It's strange to me that if there was 400 kids at a party, where are the pictures? I mean, we've all had kids, and it's like they post constantly. Even my grown son, if I want to see what he's doing that day, I just go to his Snapchat. Could Ickmel had brought Ronnie up just for clicks and views? Brandy, that's what I'm thinking. That's exactly what my personal opinion is. And that Ryan caught him. Hello, Gmal. How are you? Cats meow. Yeah, it is very strange. When I seen that first get together they had with the community, it was weird to see how these people were reacting when there's a missing child involved. And then when the dad spoke, saying, "It's your daughter too," that broke my heart. I would have my kid by the back of their neck. Yeah, it's strange always when you talk about what I think is facts, and when people are caught, you start getting these threats. Somebody said, "Well, it may be my kid who goes missing next." Well, my kid's grown, but God help somebody who touched my granddaughter, because you would know who told me, because all the other suspects would be having funerals, and you would see one with no toenails or fingernails, because I would find who got my granddaughter. And I can't believe there's no other family members coming forward in Summer's case fighting for her. I mean, there's a difference between Kylie's mother and Summer's mother. Brandy says, I dare anyone to try that. Yeah, and for people to say that, like, they wish that's going to happen to one of mine. I got a different kind of family than they got. You know, the older we get, the less we got to lose, and it's more about the people we love. I think Candace is at her girlfriend's house. Yeah, Gmail, don't dare mess with one of mine. Like I said, you'd know the ones who didn't talk, and you'd know the ones who did. Candace was last seen with Ernie, Shell, and Tina. Yeah, that bothers me too, the Ernie thing. Because the research I've done on Ernie, I don't know if you guys realize, but he lived next door to the Trents in Beach Creek. Oh, yeah, Beach Creek. Didn't Ronnie say that his cousins had a video? Maybe I heard wrong. If so, what happened? No, Boho. Peggy, Xana May said she had a video of the Spanish party that was going on next to the party where the kids were. A beautiful Spanish party is how she said it. Yeah, Summer's case, I've lost sleep over that one. I just don't understand why the parents haven't been arrested for something. I mean, them kids weren't took care of. So, I mean, anywhere else in the United States, I believe they would have been arrested. No, the parents don't care because they know what happened to her. It's funny that day that Fred Hill seen Candace on the road at 4:30. He's seen Andy out by the road. Then the neighbor was down there with Jody Sue. It makes you wonder if what happened to Summer all transpired at around 4 to 4:30. To have all them people down at the road. And did Don go to the shed to drop the boys off when he got there? So nobody's seen him drop them off, and that's why the boys were down at the creek. It just makes you wonder. And then they say there was a cop there early. There was a sheriff there the day before to run Dobbs off. I would like to know who that sheriff is, but if you don't live in Tennessee, you can't get no paperwork, which is the craziest thing I've ever heard, but they deny you. But I'd like to know who the sheriff was at Dobbs the day before, and was it the same sheriff that was there first on the scene at Dawn and Candace's? Because there was a local who said they seen the sheriff earlier in the day down there. Hi, voices. Cher, how are you? It's going to be interesting when Donnie Boy gets out of jail. Yeah, that's what I'm waiting on to see. But I also wanted to let y'all know, everybody who's in here tonight, y'all are entered because the last coffee cup drawing I did, the person never contacted me so I could send it to them. So I'll be giving that one away. I have 3 different designs, so if you don't like the one with the evil on it, I have the green one holding the apple. So whoever gets it, you can pick out of them 3. Yeah, I'm really want to know what Don has to say because everybody's flipped their script since he went to jail. Widow's diary says definitely. Sammy claimed in an interview that she was the last person to see Kylie but left the party without her. How would she possibly know she was the last person to see her? Yeah, that's always been really screwed up. Because why would you say that you wanted to stay longer, but then you left before she left because she supposedly called you? See her talk to? Yeah, did you see her or did she talk to her? This is horrific. How many people go missing in this area? I think Kraken Cases says there's 7 missing right now in that county. So I don't know if that's true or not, but it's crazy. There's a little girl here who's missing, somebody that I knew, her dad, and her dad died of cancer, and she was put into foster care, and she went to the mall with the people who were her foster parents, and she vanished. Well, her dad left her a life insurance policy, but I haven't seen on the news that she's missing. That's the only reason we know she's missing, is because the insurance company called another place. It's crazy. She could be dead and nobody would know it. Sammy said that her and Kylie went to pee both in the woods in the bathroom. There weren't bathrooms at the sanctuary. Yeah, out in the woods, and it was dark. It is sad, Andrea. I feel so bad for the mother. Amy said, I wasn't a true crime follower and don't comment like that, but why is there only a rock heart and a few flowers? This case is really sus. Where is everybody now? Well, they all disappeared once all the cameras went away. Yeah, I'm wondering what Candace is going to do. I'm wondering if Jody Sue's going to move in with Dawn. So then she'll still have a piece of property on that hill. Sammy and her parents should be accountable for Carly's death, I believe. I guess we'll see what the cops come up with. But I'm wondering who the relative of these kids are that works in law enforcement. Maybe nobody, maybe somebody. Yeah, Widow's Diary, it is horrible because the life insurance company can't find that little girl to give her money that her father left her. I mean, they all went to Reno to supposedly look for Kylie. Strange. Yeah, they sent them in the opposite direction. That's why it makes you wonder if it's just a ploy. Everything they did was suspicious, from the black sweatshirt to change into the pink and white one. Brandy says, I've been thinking the same about Jody, Sue, and Dawn. It makes you wonder because she really doesn't talk bad about Dawn. And people were saying that they had something going on before he went to jail, even prior to that. Well, welcome, Newport Marina. Glad to have you here. That embankment is really steep. It is. But I wonder if she ran into the pond herself, why is the airbags not deployed? Not one airbag. Allegedly, the parents approved of these parties where they were drinking and drugging. Yeah, and they probably got their alcohol from the parents, but We were all kids once. My dad always said whatever goes on after 11:30 is no good, and I didn't need to be there. Sammy set up every angle, scary men, pushing drugs, friendly fights, Kylie being drunk from the same cup, etc. Yeah, that is, she did. And they say the person who did the crime usually inserts themselves. The police are acting very suspect too. The last press conference was very strange. There was a lot of table talk between the officers and strange answers. Yeah, and the last video I did about the FBI agent and the expression on their faces, my mic wasn't working, so I did that video, and then there was no commentary, so it just looked like a butchered mess. Do you think they're going to let us know her cause of death? Because I don't think we have access to that since she's a child. I would have to look at the laws in California. Who is Steven? Is Steven the skier that Kylie was supposedly dating? They said don't believe she went down the embankment. I uploaded the article. That was AWP who said they didn't believe she went down the embankment, right? Thoughts on Ikmel, Zaname, and Ronnie? I'm thinking Ronnie and Zaname were probably paid for what they did. Andrew, that's my opinion. That's where the evidence led me. Ellie long pause after questions about more than one person in the car has me wondering if there might be evidence that someone had been there. Yeah, I wonder why the back windows were down. Tennessee girl says her parents didn't approve of them kind of parties. Oh yeah, my parents wouldn't have let me go if they knew that's what I was doing. Mm-mm. Sometimes, but I never miss curfew. Yeah, or you'd never go out the house again, probably. That's how my dad was. I'll double check, but I thought it was the officer. Could have been AWP though. Yeah, I heard the article I read that AWP wrote, that's what I understood them to say, is that they didn't believe she went down the hill. And then law enforcement just killed them to bring up their names. Did anybody realize that? Like, it was like pulling teeth for them to even speak their YouTube channel, which I thought was very tacky. They should have been a part of the coming out to the public, the press conference. I wonder if the phone was in the car and I haven't heard anything. I think a reporter asked that and he said he couldn't give that information. It does seem like it was a bunch of mean girls that somebody was jealous of Kylie. I'm wondering if that's what we're gonna find out. This was a planned attack on Kylie. I believe she would have been drugged before putting her in the car and into the water. Well, Sammy was saying like they were drinking out of each other's cups. Like if Carly would have been drugged, then she should be too, more or less. I always thought that was strange too. My very first thought was that she was targeted because she looked a lot younger than 16. Yeah, I was worried that she had been snatched up in the beginning, and then law enforcement said they never said that. Who else heard them say that they think it might have been an abduction? Law enforcement didn't want their names muddied, and it does seem like a mean girl vibe. Yeah, because who was there even crying for Kylie? I think, what's her name, Meg, broke down one time. Mags. Santa Mae was boots on the ground, explains why she went for a kayak, rode right over the car. Ronnie was a fake narrative pusher. Mel was the one to get the fake narrative out there. Bigby, I believe that. But it's funny when all this Ryan's crazy crap started. Santa Mae put up another video, and Ickmel was the first to share that out. Amy, she went to a different school, graduated early. Yeah, she didn't even go to school with them. I don't know how they met. Maybe at the coffee shop she was working at. Cat's Meow says, yes, I did hear abduction was in question in the beginning. Yeah, and he was like, no, I said it was a possibility. I never said that we thought that. Absolutely, Widow's Diary said. Yeah, when you can't even get a straight answer from the law enforcement, it's it makes it even more crazy. I just don't get it. I know it's going to bother all of us, and until Summer's case, something happens with that, I think we're going to be on that every day in our brains. Rain is a big hearted. Oh, Ryan. Ryan's a big hearted man. Yeah, and Ryan gave up a lot of money. He gave up that Hellcat that's probably worth $80,000, $90,000. Plus, I think he also donated into the reward fund on top of the car. So for people to say, oh, he's just used that so he could get clicks and views, he wasn't making money off of it. But that's what people do. I mean, I had an ex husband who, when he was cheating on me, I was the crazy one. But it was the truth. It's just easier when you're caught to put it back on somebody else. GC says, I heard them say abduction. They're all connected for sure, and I think they have connections with whoever did this, and whoever did this paid this group of frauds. Yes, Big B, and that's interfering with an investigation, which then took up resources from people calling in about Ronnie to give that tip. that should have never been done. You have 166,000 followers. Why do you need to make up shit? Cat's meow, that's why they brought in the FBI. Brandy says her ex was the same. Yeah, when you caught him, they'd say how crazy you were. Ryan said if they didn't want the car, he would give them what it's worth. Yes, Tennessee girl. Ryan's a man of his word. His mother raised him right. He's a good guy. I believe I heard that they said she's being taken. Yeah, I'm going to go back and rewatch that and clip that. Lisa Eder, I've had a thought that maybe they make a snuff film worse than abduction. Yeah, and that's everything's still on the table. Anything's a possibility. What happened prior to her going into that lake that day. Brandy Grace is probably how he got all them subs. Oh, yeah, because he is a good guy. He didn't come from money. He made what he has. Well, thank you, Waitress for Jesus. She says this is a great live stream. Oh, Ryan's on now. Andrew, is he discussing this case? Yes, at GC, that's what I thought. And they're still in the case, so that says a lot. Yeah, when the FBI took her car, there's a lot more to it. I meant Ickmel with his phonies. Oh yeah, he's been tripling down on this. But it's okay. Anyone believe as drunk as she supposedly was, dark as they say, she drove, staying on path, hitting nothing until she hit the big water? I don't. No, her shirt, I don't either, because you wouldn't have all the cover-ups. Why would you cover up all that? Well, thank you, Quink. Gmail says there's just so much evil around these days. It's a terrible thing and a terrifying word for children. Watch your babies closely. GC says that Cats Meow does say a lot. Here's hoping in KC. There's a thing called Project X, parties that is popular amongst affluent teenagers where literally anything goes. Perfect environment for these freaks to come in and drug and abuse girls. You're right. But why only Kylie? If there was 400, 300 people there. Brandy Gray says she would have hit a tree first, in my opinion. Amy Bew says never. Quink, you're welcome. Love your channel. Tennessee Girl says Ryan discovered a lot of disgusting things about Ickmel. Well, I just think just the Ronnie call was disturbing. Law enforcement has to look into all the other. But I don't see Ryan saying something just to say it. That makes no sense. I mean, he really can get a missing person's picture out there quicker than any of us. I'm a little bitty channel, and Ryan has 2.9 million followers. I mean, that's a lot of eyes. And if them 2.9 share it out, just half of them. I mean, a lot of people are seeing that missing person or child. And it would be sad that he couldn't continue to use his platform to get the word out. Ryan discovered a lot of disgusting things about it. I read that one. Brandy Gray says Ryan went and risked his whole career just to lie. No, and Ryan truly cared about finding her. That's really all he wanted. Xana Man Ickmel's Insurance LLC. Yeah, I seen that too. I just can't wait for my appointment next week to see what the state's attorney has to say. Because you have to weed out the bad apples. You can't just let things continue to be done like that. Everybody can watch who they want to watch, but it's sad to think that you would put out a lie and tie up resources and tips for something that isn't true. To videotape it to sell it because she looked very young. Yeah, well, she was. She was 16. She was still really a baby. Amy says Ryan knows things because he's seen Holly weirdo crap as he's in show business. Yeah, he said he's known people who were bad or hung around bad people before. So he knows what goes on, I'm sure. The Widow's Diary says, I believe there's a whole group linked to this whole thing, and it's much bigger, in my humble opinion, than just this case. And they didn't think anyone would push for help, and Ryan brought attention to it. Right, that's what they're counting on, nobody to talk about it. YouTube, Facebook, they all censor if you talk about anything with trafficking. She called her mom was coherent, so she could not have been out of her mind on drink or drugs if she could hardly talk, GC says. Amy says, I'm 41, had my time, but even though I haven't been in my hometown in years, I know it like the back of my hand. Right, Amy, you never forget where you come from. Big B says you have to do more than weed out of the bad apples. You have to rip the tree out of the ground, roots and all. Well, yeah, I think if law enforcement makes an example out of one, others won't follow that suit, won't do the same thing. Jody Sue was on live stream telling her people to call the police on all us creators that cover crime tomorrow. I told her off on a post on my community tab. Can't stand her. Right, why tie up more law enforcement's time with a bunch of bull? I mean, I put on my about page, please don't call law enforcement on anything that's in my videos. If I'm making a video about it and there's something I find that they need to know, I will turn it over. Usually I email them the tips, so I'm not tying up them right at that moment. I really enjoyed your video addressing the person who called you. Yeah, Tennessee girl, you know he's never called me back. That was disturbing. But that could have been a troll, somebody who just was trying to get at me. We'll never know, but I just wanted to make sure if he was real, he understood the Bible doesn't say what he was telling me. My biggest fan, I took off work for his drop and it didn't drop. I know we were all waiting for him to give us the information. But I think they started attacking his mom, and he's family first. The Widow's Diary, absolutely. Brenda Gray says that's exactly what I said about it. Debbie Quada says, may God bring healing and peace to Kylie's family. Rest in peace, Kylie. Yeah, my heart aches for her parents, both her mother and her father and her grandfather. Because it seemed like they were all close. I said, who better to help try to find her than a musician, as much as she was into music? And then that one big guy who always talks about Britney Spears, for him to attack. I just don't understand that guy. It's like he was just riding off Ryan's back. Nobody says what good he did. I mean, there's a lot Ryan does for people. He don't even talk about it. Cinnamon no run. So I'm gonna keep everybody updated when I go and take the paperwork. They told me I had to print it out. Nothing can be in video format. Everything has to be printed on paper. And really, they have more resources than we do. I have allowed crime for years, and never have I ever seen a whole community not try to help like this Kylie case. It is shameful. Yeah, that's what I said, you see, in the beginning when they first did that first community meeting. I thought I was watching a series of the Stepford Wives. None of it made sense, the parents' reaction. Unless they all know something really bad happened that all their children saw and could be held as accessories to the fact or after the fact. But I've never heard of nobody letting teens talk to teens when there's a missing person to get evidence, because who's to say that Sammy wasn't telling them, since her mom's a supposed lawyer, that you're an accessory, you're an accessory, you're an accessory. You know, we don't know what was said. Nobody does, except the other kids. Newport Marina said, did Sammy ever text or call her good friend to see if she got home or was safe? Of course not. I mean, what the friend should have done was called her an Uber, left her car there, and made sure she got home. Big B says, unfortunately, that's the direction society is going. And Andrew says, exactly, it's whacked. Arkansas White Dove says, I believe many know what happened. Quink says, just a thought. What if they drugged Kylie, put her in the car, broke the driver's window to make it look like Kylie tried to get out, then pushed the car in the water to look like an accident? Yeah, anything is possible. Tizzle14 said Brian just uploaded a video. Widow's Diary says, I love your channel. Anyone who brings attention to missing people, I send you blessing and prayers, and find some peace while doing your good work. Blessings to you. All be safe and stay cautious. Thank you, Widow's Diary. But it's the people. I just made the channel, and you guys come, which helps get the algorithm out there. So whoever we put out there, it pushes them people to see it. Hillbilly Hart says, the teen's behaviors are what drugged me into this case. As a retired parole officer and counselor, it was all wrong. Well, yeah, I bet. Your hair stood up on end. Andrew says, that's a possibility. Tennessee Girl says, I believe Kylie overdosed in the car at some point, and it was covered up by the so-called friends. And that's a possibility too, but why not? Most states have that law. If somebody ODs, nobody gets in trouble if you try to get them help. Thank you, Andrea. Celine Dixon says, hello, everybody. So we've been on here 49 minutes, and I'm going to have to get in bed because my brother's service is in the morning. But this has just been something I wanted to get on here and see what everybody else thought about it too. Patricia Byrne says that Hillbilly Heart, he would have drug, not drug, drag, not drug. Quink says, I just don't think Kylie is to blame for what happened to her. It's so sad. No, she's not. She was probably the youngest person at this party. Andrew says, Hillbilly Heart, that says a lot. Prayers. Big B says, a long time ago, Mythbusters sent many cars into the water and at high speeds, and never had they had a car end up with damage that her car had. With the window busted out and the mirror broke off. Is that what you're talking about? Tizzle14 says, it seems like she was dead or unconscious before she went into the water. The back window was down, which she was found in the back. She should have been able to get out if she was awake. Yeah, if she was conscious, you would think. She was a small little thing. She could have fit through that window. I mean, she went and had to bust it. The windows were down. I'd just like to know who broke the window. Did it break when they rolled it over? Or was it broke when it went in the water? I mean, AWP, they can't tell us because then law enforcement won't want them. They'll stop them from helping any other cases. Stacy says, sorry for your loss. Prayers for your healing. Thank you, Stacy. Tennessee Girl says, prayers for you and your family as you lay your brother to rest tomorrow. Thank you, Tennessee Girl. GC says, I stated this before. Maybe the brake lines were cut. And that could happen too. Well, thank you, Quink, for becoming a member. Well, you guys, I want to thank all you guys for coming in here. And probably tomorrow night I'll come on again. Because I'd like to see what other people are thinking. Maybe we can do a panel. The Highway Patrol kept referring to investigating an accident. Then they did not answer questions if they felt another vehicle was involved. They should have spoken more clearly about that. Well, what the FHP guy said was a little too much because the FBI was mumbling under his breath. Andrew says, I missed the beginning. So sorry. Condolences. I lost my brother. Well, I give mine to you because I know what it feels like. Thank you, GC and Debbie Queda. Tennessee Girl says she hadn't thought about that. Thank you, Reese Cup 61. So yeah, you guys, I'm gonna have to get off here. I thank everyone for coming, and the truth always comes to light. Sometimes we just gotta be a little more patient. Just because we want it to be our time, don't make it so. Yes, he was reined in after he spoke. Yeah, quickly. That look. If looks could kill, the FBI agent would have knocked the highway patrol over with the way he looked at him. All right, well, I thank all you guys for coming, and I will see you next time. Now I don't want to shut off.